All right, so anime and business combined. Today, I'm going to show you how you can combine your hobbies into your life's work. But before I do that, I want to share a little bit about how and why I even came to that conclusion. So a little bit about how my brain works. I like to pull things. I'm just a naturally interested and curious person. So I like to pull things from the things that I observe in a tree when I go on my walk. I like to observe the cat that's running down the street. I like to observe my cat. I like to look at how that influences how people utilize what they inspire outside of them to then create stories, which is how we have so many incredible TV shows and movie series. Some not so much, but for me at least, when it comes to anime, that's really what I resonate and relate to. And it's been a lot of topic of conversation around how that can be, at least in my life, how that can be applied into the outer world. And so if you guys saw my last video, it was consume to prosume. This is a continuation of that to really see why it is so important to combine your hobbies into your life's work. This is not to say that you need to turn your hobby into a full-time job. It's not saying that everything that you enjoy doing needs to be something that turns into work. That's not the goal here. And if you're familiar with anything that I've been reading with Gary B. Gunderson, it's win to play. So we want to make sure that we are winning and enjoying what we're doing so that we can continue to move forward in everything that we do. So for me, a hobby of mine, one is to get deep. I really enjoy going really deep on just different philosophies and theories and seeing how they all connect to each other. So one of the ways that I've been able to really do that is through anime. So I know that I mentioned some of the shows that I've watched. So for example, with Jujutsu Kaisen, they are fighting curses that are like spread throughout the city of Tokyo. And Japan, really, because they also have a base in Kyoto. But these curses that they're fighting off are also a result of just some of the fears that have stemmed from their internal core. And more importantly, the reason why I even got into it was one, because that's my mom's favorite show. She loves that show, and I wanted to really understand what her thought process was as to why she was so fascinated by what it was. And more so than the curses themselves, this one specifically just spoke on character. And the main characters, Gojo, Yuji, they both, well, not so much Gojo, but Yuji has this very innocent side of him. Like, he wants to do good, he wants to save people. He's a little bit confused as to how the world really works, but he's like, I'm strong, so I'm gonna follow through with it. And with Gojo, he has this more like confident, nuance and aura about him, because he knows that he has one of the strongest, what is it called? Like the sorcery power within him to be able to read, manipulate, and manipulate in a way of manipulating the curse so that he can then utilize his power to destroy them. And so really looking into that, I'm like, for them, of course, living in a world of curses and having seen their families be affected by it, that's something that they all want to take down, right? So that's kind of where their purpose lies, and to really create a better fulfilling world. Moving on to Demon Slayer, it's something incredibly similar where, it's such an emotional tug and pull, but that show specifically, at least for me, makes me really reflect on purpose, why people do things the way that they do, because a lot of the demons that they're fighting off, their superpower when they do turn into a demon, unfortunately, is from the pain that they had felt or had carried with them throughout their time as a human. And for Tanjiro, whenever he has to slay a demon, he can feel and see. He's a deep empath, and he can feel the pain, one, that the demon is starting to remember, because once you turn into a demon, you don't know why you're doing these things. And that kind of goes into the aspect of not really knowing where animosity comes from. Like, you lose yourself in the process, which is incredibly important to reflect and make ourselves aware of as we continue being in this journey of business, because it's so easy to start a business and start somewhere and then later forget why you're even doing what you're doing, or you develop a collaboration or a partnership, and as more of these things come into your world and your system, it's very easy to forget and lose yourself in that process. So even for me, if I haven't mentioned this already, I started as a filmmaker, and I don't know where it went from I love telling stories to I need to prove my point. Well, I kind of do, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to share that. But if you are ready to share, let me know, and I'll definitely put it in the next video. And man, I remember when it went from just pure enjoyment, which is the hobby side, and why I say the cautionary tale of, finding that balance between incorporating your hobby into your work, or incorporating the lessons you learn from your hobby to then incorporate into how you can create a stronger foundation for the work that you do. So, but anyways, even with film, once I graduated college, so when I was in college, I was doing a lot of documentaries. I was telling a bunch of different historical stories that then related to the Black community within my alma mater, San Diego State. And we wanted to uplift the community. We thought that we were being overseen, and the only way to not be overseen is for us to create the stories ourselves. So that's really where the passion came from. Shout out to my girls, CJ and Charlotte. They were such a pivotal, they made such a pivotal impact in my life to really understand what I want to do. And they were on board with it. We all shared a collective vision to continue to push that forward. And I've never let that go. But when I graduated and I was like, okay, well, I want to take this on to new heights. And I explored and found my way in music videos, and I was really pushing to do that. But it was somewhere between like music videos like 5 and 6, and I noticed that I wasn't getting paid and was being told, oh, you need to pay your dues, but yeah, we move in a really fast environment, so do you want to take the job or not? And I'm sitting here like, why am I proving a point to you guys and not getting that respect? And I was really big on in seeking to understand how to get others to see my worth. So I was proving myself. So then film went from just purely telling the story and evoking that story to having to prove a point. And that's where the line got blurred, and I stepped away from music videos. I know I'm going through this kind of quickly, so I hope it's making sense, but if not, just let me know and I'll definitely clarify more about what this is. And it's just recently that I got over this insecurity that I had to make my hobby into a living. Like, this is my life's work. What do you mean I have to prove a point? What do you mean you're not going to pay me? Well, if you're not going to pay me, even though you said you were in the beginning, well, fine. I'll just go my separate way and you could keep your dirty money. That's really how I felt. And it made me, I was depressed for a little while because I was like, I think I just cut myself off from every other opportunity. But I was like, no, I also have to stand firm in upholding the integrity of the industry, the teams that I work with, and just all that I do. And if that comes at the expense of my paycheck, then so be it. Well, whether that worked out for the better or not, it is, because the work that we do, shout out to Myron Golden for putting this into perspective for me, the work that we do is always going to work either for us or on us so that it can work through us. And that's incredibly important to remember, especially in times when things aren't working out and when you get a lot of no's, because it's going to make you question whether you are actually moving in your purpose. And so tying that back into anime, tying that back into how to make your hobbies into your life's work. So watching anime, I think, is a hobby. It's a form of enjoyment. And for me, really picking apart the lessons that they're seeking to teach in those shows is incredibly insightful. It's incredibly insightful. And even going back to Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, it is imperative that we remind ourselves of the bigger vision and then reverse engineer it. And I think learning from these characters who have that ammo and that motive behind wanting to create a better world, but also having understanding for the other side as to why they might act in such violence or such remorse, I think is really important to carry in the business, because it's you can quickly lose sight of what the big goal is. One, because you will be working with different perspectives and different people who have different visions, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of ensuring that each of these partnerships are in congruence with the deeper values that you continue to serve and evoke, and what you hope to see for everyone, and ensure that that is all in alignment. And so with all that being said, this is just more so an introduction of pulling from different sources to then see, well, what do you enjoy? How can you create and turn that into something that you can be paid for? And I know that I keep mentioning a lot of Japanese, what do you call it? Like I'm bringing in a lot of Japanese folklore. I'm bringing in a lot of Japanese principles and lessons, but I do think that it's something that's universal and something that can be applied but I even bring in Myron Golden or Garrett B. Gunderson, and they're in the world of America. And, Garrett B. Gunderson is this really cool, serene, chill white guy, and Myron Golden is this really dope Black man who's gone through so much. And so to be able to just pull from different experiences and see the through line is something that intrigues me to continue to stay curious about why people get to where they are and how I can continue to help them. So I hope this makes sense, and I hope that this allows you, as much as it did me, reflect on identity, how to embrace identity, how to understand just the different ways that we can bring all of our identities together. If you haven't noticed, I'm half Black, half Japanese, and to be able to really understand how to merge the two together is something that I'm passionate about, which is why when I help other people pull that story out of them to create a vision, I want to make sure that you embrace all parts of yourself, because if you don't embrace yourself, who will? So those are my 2 cents for today. I'll talk more about my identity and how I continue to go into my vision and how to flesh that out in my business and other videos. But I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. And, if you did, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.